Some cars are just transport. They get you from A to B boring. Then there's the Nissan GTR. It's not just a car, it's a statement, a thunderous, tire-shredding declaration that you've arrived and everyone else should probably get out of the way. They call it Godzilla. And frankly, that name is probably a bit too tame for what this machine can actually do. It doesn't just beat supercars, it embarrasses them, often at a fraction of the price. This is a machine built with a singular, glorious purpose: to be devastatingly, mind-bogglingly fast. The GTR legend wasn't born overnight in some sterile laboratory by men in white coats fiddling with computers, though computers would later play a huge part. No, its spirit was forged in the heat of competition with a lineage that stretches back further than many people realize. It's a story of ambition, engineering brilliance, and a refusal to accept that anything is impossible. This car carries a weight of history on its broad shoulders, a history that whispers of giant-slaying performance and a reputation for being the ultimate performance bargain, if you can call something this potent a bargain. The tale begins in the 1960s, at a time of optimism and change. It wasn't even technically a Nissan at the very start. The seeds were sown with a company called Prince Motor Company. They had a rather sensible saloon car, the Skyline, but then someone, bless their cotton socks, had a brilliant idea. What if they took this sensible family car and gave it a much, much bigger heart? A heart designed for racing. This was the genesis, the moment the spark ignited. So, in 1969, the first car to wear the GR badge officially appeared, the Skyline 2000 GTR. It was a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing, a relatively unassuming saloon or coupe that packed a surprisingly potent straight-six engine. It was designed for touring car championships, and it dominated them. It wasn't about brute force back then, not entirely. It was about clever engineering, a good chassis, and an engine that loved to rev. And this was the humble yet incredibly successful beginning of a true automotive icon. Let's fast forward a bit through the oil crisis and some slightly less exciting years for performance cars globally. We land in the late 1980s. Japan's economy was on fire. Their car manufacturers were feeling bold, incredibly ambitious. They weren't just aiming to compete anymore, they were aiming to conquer the automotive world. And Nissan had a plan, a very clever, very powerful plan. They decided it was time to bring back the GTR, but not just any GTR. They were going to create a monster. And create a monster they did. In 1989, the Nissan Skyline GTR R32 was unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. This wasn't just an evolution, it was a revolution. It looked purposeful, muscular, and it had the technology to back up its aggressive stance. This car was designed with one thing in mind: to obliterate the competition on the racetrack, particularly the Group A Touring Car Championships. And, oh boy, did it achieve that. It didn't just win, it annihilated everything in its path. The R32 GTR was packed with technology that was frankly science fiction for its time. Under the bonnet was the legendary RB26 DET engine, a 2.6-litre, twin-turbocharged straight-six that officially produced 276 horsepower, a figure famously understated due to a gentleman's agreement among Japanese manufacturers. The real magic, however, lay in its ATISA ETS all-wheel drive system. This wasn't some clunky old four-wheel drive. It was an intelligent system that could send power to the wheels that needed it most, making the car unbelievably quick out of corners. The result was utter domination. In Australia, it was so dominant in motorsport that it earned the nickname Godzilla because it was a Japanese monster crushing all before it. It effectively killed the existing touring car formula there because nobody else could compete. It was banned from some competitions simply for being too good. Imagine that, building a car so effective, so devastatingly capable, that the rule makers have to step in and say, "No more, you're spoiling the fun for everyone else." That, in essence, is the legend of the R32 GTR. After the world-beating R32, Nissan couldn't just rest on its laurels, could it? No, the engineers went back to the drawing board. In 1995, the R33 Skyline GTR was introduced. Now, some people, the sort who wear beige cardigans, said it was a bit softer, a bit bigger, a bit more grand tourer than the R32. It was indeed a slightly larger car with a longer wheelbase, which Nissan said improved stability, especially at the very high speeds this car was capable of. And it was still ferociously quick. The RB26 DET engine was carried over, tweaked and refined, of course. The all-wheel drive system was smarter. Nissan famously took an R33 GTR to the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Green Hell, and set a blistering lap time. It was the first production car to officially break the 8-minute barrier, a massive achievement back then. So, softer, perhaps a fraction more refined, but it was still pure GTR, still capable of rearranging your internal organs with its acceleration. Then came the one, the car that, for a whole generation, the Nissan GTR, the R34. Launched in 1999, it looked angrier, more chiseled, more compact than the R33. It was the definitive poster car, the hero of video games like Gran Turismo, and it gained even more global fame thanks to its starring roles in films like Too Fast, Too Furious. This was the GTR that truly cemented its place in popular culture, becoming an object of desire for enthusiasts worldwide. Even in countries where it was never officially sold, it was a legend. Underneath the R34 was the ultimate evolution of that particular GTR formula. The RB26 Det was still there, more potent than ever, despite the official 276 horsepower figure still being quoted. It featured a new 6-speed Getrag gearbox, which was much stronger. One of its coolest features was the multifunction display in the dashboard. It could show all sorts of information like boost pressure, oil temperature, and even G-forces. For a car from the late 90s, this was like something out of a fighter jet. It was brilliant, and it was the end of an era for that GTR bloodline. After the R34 ceased production in 2002, there was a period of silence. The world waited. Would Nissan dare to create another GTR? Could they possibly top what had come before? The anticipation was immense. Then in 2007 the answer arrived, and it was a resounding yes. The Nissan GTR R35 was unveiled. Crucially, it dropped the Skyline name. This was now a standalone model, simply Nissan GTR, and it was designed from the outset as a global supercar. This was a completely new beast. Gone was the beloved RB26-6. In its place was a new hand-built 3.8-litre V6 twin-turbo engine, the VR38 DTT. Power was significantly up, starting at around 480 horsepower and climbing steadily with each model year update. It featured a sophisticated dual-clutch semi-automatic transmission and an even more advanced version of the Atisa ETS all-wheel drive system. This car was designed to take on the Porsches, Ferraris and Lamborghinis of the world and beat them. And beat them it did. The R35 GTR's performance was, and still is, absolutely staggering. Its launch control system provided neck-snapping acceleration, hitting 60 miles per hour in times that embarrassed cars costing 3 or 4 times as much. It lapped the Nürburgring at speeds that defied belief for a car of its weight and price. Year after year, Nissan tweaked it, refined it, added more power, improved the aerodynamics and honed the chassis. It became a relentless, evolving giant killer. The legacy of the GTR, from its humble beginnings to the current R35, is one of audacious engineering and accessible supercar performance. It democratized speed. It proved that you didn't need an exotic European badge to have a car that could challenge the very best. It has inspired countless enthusiasts, tuners and racers. As we stand here in 2025, the R35 is getting on a bit, but it still commands immense respect. What does the future hold? Electrification, hybrid power. One thing is certain, the spirit of Godzilla will live on. And we will wait eagerly